Everyone, my name's iced37, and today I'll be showcasing my run of Saint Story Percent for Rainworld Downpour. Additionally, I have with me here Dreki.
Hello, I'm Trekkie Ormer. I usually run the Survivor 100% category, and I'll be providing some additional commentary while Ice focuses on the technical gameplay.
Alright, so we're gonna get started right here. Now, one thing to state is that Saint is the last character in the whole timeline for the DLC and really much the game. And so, yes, Rainworld, we're gonna do a lot of rain-related things. Actually, just kidding, it's snowing now. We're in Snow World. There is no more rain, only cold. And so as Saint here, we are going to be using our special ability, which is the Grapple Tongue.
We also have a lot of things going on real quick at the start. We want these popcorn to come fast, and then we need to eat because it is way too windy.
So one major thing between how the game normally would work is there's a timer until the time it rains in normal gameplay, but in this game, I did that wrong. That might have me restart if I am starving. I am starving. I'm gonna restart because that's not actually possible.
Oh no,
right
unfortunate.
That's not.
Unfortunately, passing through solid barriers is a skill
right
that Saint messes with.
Yep, I just didn't eat the things in order. Technically, it never happened. Let's just pretend that it didn't happen. But, now we get to do this again, and I get to mess up this movement this time.
That's no
yes, as Dreki said a second ago, this popcorn here, it'll break because of the cold, but it's completely random how fast it'll get. We've gotten two really good takes there, however. I'm trying to get the wind to carry me. There's an actual wind mechanic in that room right at the beginning. We put our tongue on the ceiling, the shelter starts to close, we phase ourselves through the wall by using our tongue, by grappling up, and then we go into this room. We've now saved into this room while actually eating the food we did before. We're now going down over here. We made good time because the second part of the song didn't play. And now we're going to be seeing an echo. So we had a lot of things just happen right at the beginning. We're just getting introduced to the snow and the cold mechanic compared to the base game where we have to worry about rain over time. But in this case, we actually will freeze to death if we're outside for too long. It makes it so it's not a hard cap for how much time we have during a given day. But in certain situations, it can be scary. However, for the speedrun, that's not really a problem as we're going to be moving so fast that it's not going to get cold enough. So now, as we just saw our funny confetti octopus man, he has expanded our brain and given us a higher maximum karma. Now, our goal is to get the highest maximum karma that's possible. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. There's going to be a maximum of one in each region. We're going to be going through a few different regions. That was a little scary jump there. Good thing the orange lizard went through. So now, creatures, it's always going to be consistent spawns, but the location of where they're moving and what they've done is random. That orange, I stunned him, but he perfectly grabbed me with his stunned body and was not able to easily go by. Messed up that little bit there. My tongue is going through solid ground. That was funny.
It doesn't work about that. Saint's semi-permeable to solid objects. Another important thing about karma in this game is it's used for accessing the different regions. So Saint not starting with 5 karma, which is the standard for a lot of slug cats, actually does change a lot of where they can go and the order of regions they can get to, which makes raising their maximum karma even more important.
And so now, just saying as Dreki did, for people who don't know this game, we are playing as a slug cat, which is normally the type of creature we play as. We're specifically playing as Saint, but given all slug cats are slug cats, we have a wide array of base movement that everyone can do. And so if you see us a lot of on-ground sliding and jumping, that is pretty much what we're going to be doing a lot of the time. Additionally, the use of picking up items like rocks or spears is a big part of helping us move a bit faster or interact with the world or other creatures. Now we're entering another region called Chimney Canopy. We need a high enough karma to go through here. In this case, now that we have maximum of 3 karma, we can use that to get through a gate. One other thing about karma is that if you survive a cycle, you'll go up in whatever your current range of karmas is. And if you die, you will go down. I'm going to go the top path this time because I'm feeling it.
Now, if you saw that weird screen effect, that's not a bug on your screen. That is actually a special saint effect that's sort of a little helper to let you know that there is a sky spaghetti somewhere in the area to say hi to.
Otherwise, it's the large amounts of confetti. Although for a lot of the other slug cats, it is much harder to find the actual echoes. As there's a few different requirements to make them appear, but for Saint, they're just always there, and we just need to go to location and get them. So it helps a lot. We don't have to worry about staying around in the area for a little while before the echo will actually show up. Now, all of the echoes will talk to us. We want to immediately leave the screen that is looking at them as fast as possible the moment the text box starts showing up. And so kind of timing that to when we start seeing them to when we leave is a big thing.
You also see ice goes all the way back to where they last rested, because whenever you see an echo, it's like it was all a dream.
And so we just kind of wake up in the snowbank because we did a glitch where we saved outside of the normal save location. And that location's very useful because we get to go a little bit faster going this way. And we don't have to wait for the actual shelter itself to open up. I messed up doing this room fast, but that's fine. Now we're going to be moving into farm arrays here.
The farm arrays portion.
Yep.
Oh. I was going to say the farm arrays is a bit of an interesting area, as there's 2 paths one can sort of take to get through the hazard, which is the ever lovable worm grass. Ice was going to be using the yeek, but the other path that some people have taken is using what's called a bubbleweed and basically swimming through some of the more aquatic areas, which has its own dangers.
Main thing about doing the swim, as we found out, is 1, if you go a little bit slow, you'll actually die to it being cold because you're going through water. And 2, it's using a feature of the game where there's kind of a new game plus feature where, well, with any slug cat, you can store 1 item in your stomach. You can, for specifically Saint, store an item from a previous playthrough and bring it over to a next playthrough. And so we bring a bubbleweed, as Dreki said. But we found out that is a bit slower than actually getting our little frog friend here. Hello there. You're mine now. We're going to be jumping through carnivorous grass together. Are you
delicious?
Now,
I believe they actually had their AI improved recently.
So, just this week, Rainwold got an update, and a lot of different changes. One of the major ones is, if you know the timer at the top there, that in-game timer used to be a bit messed up, and now it is actually working quite great, and fits well as a in-game timer, and we're going to be using that to actually measure our speedruns. One other thing that was the major thing is that the yeek is changed, and it used to kind of just be a not very good AI creature and had some quirks to how you actually grab it and use it. But now it works a bit better as an AI and is a bit more consistent for actually using it to traverse. So now, pretty much as you notice, we're holding Froggy and we jump with Froggy, we do big jump. Do you want to talk about fast rolls, Dreki? This is not a great location.
Yep, so while Ice deals with the jumpy caramel lizard in our way, Rolling in Rain World is pretty simple. Usually you hold your direction stick or you indicate diagonal, but there is a fast roll where if you hold it slightly less than a 45-degree angle, so more like a 30-degree or 20-degree or so, you'll actually roll faster further, which this would normally only be possible with console or controller players. However, there is an allowed mod that basically makes it a button to achieve the similar effect for keyboard and mouse players.
And if you look in the bottom left of the screen, we have it a bit small, but there is a input viewer. And so all of the normal inputs are there, and then the Y button that's in red, that is the fast roll button. And so you can see when I'm using that. And so basically, the fast roll button is just a different way to press down. It's just like slightly down instead of all the way down as a button press or a joystick movement. Kind of emulating Xbox controller, but it's a little different. But yes, we're jumping through the main mechanic, and we see the main way to get past the mechanic of farm arrays, which is these deer. And
reindeer.
The worm grass here is what would kill us normally if we just tried to run through. But because we're on our jumpy steed here, we still died to it. That is very unfortunate.
Wormgrass is extremely grabby.
I was a little concerned there. So the deer can just be there and aggro all the grass. And if the wormgrass grabs you while you're going down into the wormgrass, it can be very hard to actually get away from it. That's not the worst death. I would have restarted, however, normally.
Basically, wormgrass comes in two flavors. There's the longer red ones, which we've seen a lot, and those are the ones that necessitate us using the yeek, or in more traditional runs, a reindeer to bypass. But there are, you may have spotted some shorter, more like black or bluish ones. Those ones tend to be short enough, can usually just run right through them. Because the hazard with wormgrass is if it grabs you long enough, then it eats you. It just hugs you too hard. They don't know how to moderate their strength.
Yeah, there's not too much we can do if the grass is grabbing us while we're heading down into it. I wasn't even really able to touch the ground before a bunch of tendrils actually grabbed me. The new yeek's pretty good because it can break the grass a bit easier, but there's still going to be times where, because it's so aggroed and then now it's looking at me, it's a bit more annoying. If we're going through that area really fast and there's nothing around, the grass barely becomes active by the time we actually get there.
Do you mind if I jump in for 1 second?
Yep.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. So, welcome to Indiethon Spring 2024. We are raising money for the Fred Hutch Cancer Research Center. You can donate to support their amazing efforts by going to tracker.indiethon.com/donate. Also, with your donations, you can choose one of the incentives. And with one of those incentives, Rain World Downpour still has one that is active. You can choose the category that Iced will complete the game in, whether that be any percent or story. So if you'd like to choose how the run goes towards midway through, go ahead and get your donations in. And with that, let's get back to Rain World. Thank you again, Iced.
Yes, we will not have the cutoff for that category donation incentive for a little while now. So we have a good amount of time, especially with that unintended death there. I'm surprised I'm not going up there. There's probably a white lizard. It's gonna be in my way. There he is.
Oh boy.
Usually doesn't come in here. Really doesn't want to come out because of that vulture.
Yeah, the AI in Rain World is pretty fascinating with getting creatures moving around, and the reason why the Cambo lizard or the white lizard wouldn't normally be here, usually likes to hang out in the other room, but the lizards are afraid of those vultures, so they try and take a way out, and it seems the lizard got... Okay, I thought the lizard got your yeek.
The lizard did get my yeek. I had to give it to him. He is a little broken right now. We didn't die, so we get to go back and get another one. So that's fine. The yeek has been broken. They broke him. How could they?
You gotta reboot your yeek. You know, you gotta honk it 3 times and then flip it around.
I've never actually seen that white lizard enter that room. It's a little weird.
Just usual marathon luck kind of stuff.
Yeah. Alright. Now we gotta hope for no deer. No annoying deer that just sit there and annoy everything else around you.
See, you're not even trying to take deer, and they still menace your run. As a survivor 100%er, I feel like the reindeer are one of the main antagonists of runs.
Even though I'm trying to do something to make the yeeks jump consistent, there's still... The yeek's gonna fight you, so if it seems like I'm doing really weird movement that doesn't really make sense when I've done a lot of really good movement, like right now, I'm not trying to do that. It is just kinda happening. The yeek will kinda struggle in your hands, I mean, if it's not fully touching the ground when you jump, you don't get the full yeek jump. That is something that happens. Alright.
Alright. Pray for no deer.
It is really just that last spot. Where we died, we were right next to the save. Which is why it is so unfortunate.
I think the centipedes are following for some reason.
Too much for problem. I don't know why they do that. They like get scared and run away from you, but you're going the same direction. And so now you just both end up in the same room and you're just staring at each other awkwardly.
Like when you say bye to someone and then you both turn and start walking the same way down the sidewalk.
Worm grass isn't real. Just don't look at it. All right. So one thing about what we're going to be doing for this run is that there's actually an echo in this region. But we've actually gone to the other side of the region, so we're next to the next region, which is subterranean. And so we're going to be saving next to subterranean, going back and getting the echo in here in farm arrays. And then we're going to... Didn't want to get stunned there. Then we're going to be going and actually entering subterranean and getting that echo in that region. Okay. So much easier when they're not fully aggroed off something.
No.
Don't need this guy anymore.
Now, you might have seen a yellow flower over there, and those are karma flowers. And when guys did their glitch way back at the start of the game, and it timed out and it saved with and put them down at the bottom left, there was a karma flower in that room, and for some reason it counts him as eating that karma flower. And an aspect of karma flowers is whenever you perish, you don't lose karma level, and a karma flower will spawn at the area you perished. So that's what kind of why you saw that over there in the worm grass.
Yes. So one of the good things about this run is it's basically you can do the one death, and it really just doesn't matter. So now we need another eek. A little bit faster to take the food there instead of taking the eek in the shelter, as I have been doing. And now we get to go back. So now we get to go through one of the other pretty annoying parts right at the beginning here. That being
nice.
the very big spider room, where, as we will learn, spiders are more moving walls than anything else. I know some people don't really like spiders and how they look. I personally am okay with how the spiders look in this game, because they're kind of just fluffy balls of just... I don't even know how to explain it. But we're watching out for the red ones here, because the red ones shoot a tranquilizer dart. Otherwise, I wish I saw a bunch of spiders to our right, because a lot of them like to hang out in here. That is really bad, actually. I'm going to try to make sound to make them move.
It's going to be one of actually several instances where spiders are kind of on the only direction where there's no other way around.
Yeah, there's the one kind of big... Okay, they're both looking away from me, so I'm gonna go for it.
We have a donation. Can I interrupt real quick?
Yep, that would be good.
Awesome, no problem. So we have a donation from Shrub for $5. No incentive donation, but they did say it rain in this world. Thank you so much, Shrub, for the $5.
Alright, we got the annoying spider out of the way. The second one could still block us. Okay, he decided to come back. I don't know what he's doing. He's going over there now. I'm gonna touch his back, so he's gonna freak out. You can tell which side it's back by whatever side has the amount of color coming from it. We're able to get by him. So those are really, really annoying, if you can imagine, because we kind of just gotta hope that they aren't there. Usually they like to hang out in the open room, but you'll get them all kind of just doing whatever they want sometimes.
But we got through it. Now we just gotta deal with some more worm grass.
This one isn't usually that bad. When the deer's right there, the worm grass is more aggroed on the deer than it will ever be on us. It's kind of like if the deer is a decent distance away and has been aggroing the grass, and then we move into it, is the worst part. It's like literally the only spot we died was the only really bad spot. The rest of this isn't a problem. We're going to be approaching our next echo here. There's going to be centipedes that can kill us. Just got to watch out for that. Okay, only one of them decided to show up today.
Nice, nice. Finally throwing us a bone.
There's a beehive there. So we're in an area where creatures fall asleep. However, our yeek will still jump. And the beehives will still activate and then stick us to the walls.
You fed your yeek to the worm grass.
It's fine. It's like the cycle never happened.
It was your noble steed, Iced.
But we don't need him anymore because we get the echo. So every time we meet an echo, it's like the cycle we just didn't happen, which is useful in some runs. In our case, it's useful for just sending us back to... Why is it sending us back to our previous save point? Which is why we don't even want to be around here at all. Also, yes, we're probably going to get... That guy's going to be the one that's been able to talk to us the most. Everyone else is going to be one line, and that is it. So, I'll get to say the one line together.
And he made the strategic decision by being close to a long pipe, so it takes a while to screen transition away. Although this next one is my favorite echo. I think his single line is my favorite.
I already forget what it is for Saint. Saint has different text. 3, 2, 1. A little
beast.
It is still the same. Amazing. Alright. So we've gotten past the base 5 karma, and we're now, right after you get past the base 5 karma, you actually get 2 to your maximum karma on the next one. We only need 3 more echoes, and then we get to choose what our ending is. And at 7 karma, it's not as bad going through everything. I believe we still, as Saint, need to be at one of our higher karmas to see echoes. I do not remember, but we're not trying to die as it is. Subterranean, as with every region that we're going to be going through, each one's going to look very different. And we're going to be going through this region in multiple different ways, and you're going to be coming back to it a bit later as well. I want these 2 food. That man's a little annoying that he exists. There's a second man blocking the way. That's sick.
Oh, I almost got fed to the worm grass.
There's a third man.
It's a bit of a party in this pipe.
So, as with slug cats, scavengers can throw spears, which makes them scary. However, we're playing as Saint, so we can't actually throw spears at all. Man, that was a little annoying, but...
Saint's little arms are a little too noodly.
So the funny thing...
I was gonna say he could still at least use spears for various object boosts, movement tech.
Funny thing about scavengers is that compared to other creatures, they don't have a specific location they spawn from. They just kind of exist in the region and have one of many places that they can take massive shortcuts through. Didn't hit the ceiling there, a little unfortunate. So the item we're holding here today is a new item that came with the DLC called a gooey duck. I have 2 of them here. The gooey duck has 2 things going for them, and that is each one counts as 2 food instead of 1, and each one, please go away, do not come up here. And each one also repels the worm grass. If we weren't using the yeeks, we would probably use these to go through all the worm grass. Stab that guy. Yeah!
Helpful scavenger.
As long as he doesn't stab me, it's fine. But we don't have good or bad rep with them, so unless there's a particularly aggressive scavenger, they're not really too bad. You can usually tell if they're aggressive or not, depending on how they physically look. It's hard to really explain unless you've played the game quite a lot. Saving here, this is a good hub location. We're going to go to a few locations from. We're going to be entering Drainage now, or as it's called now, that is on the Saint campaign, the Undergrowth. I might have already said that name wrong, because it's been a while since I've thought about it, but this area is drastically different than it used to be. Even just as parts of Subterranean are much different for this character than for others. So we're going to be worrying about 1 spider here.
Yep. Again with the spiders.
I think he hit me. I can't tell. So there's a red spider in there shooting his trank darts. Looks like he did hit me. So I'm going to fall asleep here. He decided to leave the room. So that's fine.
Alright. We'll just take a little nap and then we can continue on.
He is stalking me now, though. But we're going to be moving a little bit too fast for him. So, comparative to other characters, we have these lights kind of falling down, so we can kind of see what we're doing depending on where the lights are. Otherwise, it's movement like other characters where you just can't see anything. However, with Saint and the tongue, you just can do whatever you want in a lot of cases.
Yeah, none of the other slug cats have a little licky tongue to be grabbing themselves everywhere. Like I say, I can't imagine things taste very good.
Right. So, next area, we get to see more spiders. It's a shocker. A new one. Now, the only thing we're really worrying about these spiders is there is no red ones. So we're not really too worried. It's just the normal smaller ones and the green ones, which is this is really the only area we're going to see them. We could see them later, but unlikely. And they're not really going to bother us as long as we're moving fast enough. One thing they can do, however, is if they're in the area of effect of the echo, they will fall asleep. If they enter this run room, they'll fall asleep, completely block the path forward, and we can't move them or touch them at all as Saint. So we have to legitimately just go backwards and unload it so it abstracts to a different room. But they wasn't here. There was that transition right there that I can get stuck on.
Alright,
So
good to
don't have
go.
worry about it. All the spiders are always going to be pretty much together, as I believe they have a function called pack hunting that makes them always be together. As we kind of noticed a second ago in Subterranean, there's actually a pack of the wolf spiders, which is the normal kind of gray ones, that if you see one, you see many, or you don't see any of them at all.
Lovely. I just gotta ascend up.
Eating this echo. This is everyone's favorite echo, as I understand. At least from what they say.
You see the same as me.
We might. But we're leaving now. And now, we're going to see some funny chickens.
Ah, yes. They certainly are some funny chickens.
We don't like funny chickens.
I don't think you've gone over because you've been. Oop. We got a centipede in our way.
Yep, that one will always be there. These scavengers are what I'm actually worried about. The centipede actually grabbed me, which is rare. That's fine to die there.
Well, at least it was close to a new cycle.
Yep. This spot is not great because, one, all those scavengers kind of just show up and they'll just block everything. And that centipede is just immediately right there. It's weird that that centipede actually caught up to me to kill me. Because they can't see, they can only feel you. And the moment they feel you, they kind of like stop and are like, huh? What was that? And they'll do that constantly. So they never actually catch up to you. Do not come down here. Go away. He's raising his spear at me. He threw a spear straight down through the ground.
Oh boy. Well, he missed, so
That's fine.
I don't think you've also mentioned any of how some of the tongue mechanics work, and this is starting to get some of the areas where you're using a lot of the flinging.
So so if you know the normal grapple in this game, you know that there's 3 firing modes. And that is, if you're holding up, that was a weird sound. If you're holding up, it'll auto-aim to whatever's above you. If you're holding right, it'll do a set angle to your right or left. And if you're not holding anything, it'll just be a different set angle going either left or right according to your last left or right input. Basically the direction you're facing. There's a scavenger there. That is terrible. Scavengers don't like us this run. There's also these Miros birds. I'm gonna drop down. Hope they get scared by my presence. Go away. He's not scared by my presence. Hit me with a rock. Hit me with another rock.
Well, this is inconvenient.
See if he comes out. He might. Or he just leaves again. Please let me through, nice man. He has spears now instead of rocks. That bird is stuck, which is really unfortunate. That's exactly where we have to go. I was hoping Scavenger would be bitten by him.
Scavengers are feasting on centipedes today. Or not scavengers, the birds.
Well, he's dead now. I don't really know what to do in this situation. I've never had this guy stuck here. Okay. Oh, he did the glitch thing.
We got the glitch.
Yeah,
I think it's the second time.
Yeah, it's the second time I've had that. We kind of have to hope he doesn't do that. So if you're in a pipe and the bird grabs basically where you last were when entering the pipe, it'll grab you and it'll teleport going through the pipe with you. I don't really know why it does that. That is something that happens... that happened in the past with some other creatures, but now it's happening with those birds. Basically just means there's a higher chance to die, which in this case is pretty high when it's stuck in a wall.
I know a lot of lizards, whenever they bite you, it's not guaranteed to kill. For a lot of them, it's usually a % chance. But I think do the chickens have a % chance to kill as well, or is it considered insta-death if they grab you?
I believe you just instantly die, but for Saint, because we have glass bones and paper skin, we just die instantly to everything anyway. So, this is one unfortunate thing. Didn't do that fling real good. So one thing is to gain a lot of momentum is to be holding right and doing the right fling. But also we'll try to fall a certain distance before we do it and kind of speed up from the fall and then redirect it going horizontally. They really like being here today. Okay, he actually got over the cliff this time. I've not seen one stick their body fully into the pit like that.
Thankfully, usually the chickens can only go one direction. It's pretty rare that they back up.
This one's not even making sound. Okay, it's all fine now. Okay, it's no longer fine because I missed the jump.
He just wants a cup of sugar. Wants to say, hey, what's up?
I'd like him to go over and pretend I'm not here. There we go.
There There we go. Now we get to the upper path of this lower area.
Yes. Because we're Saint, we can do a little bit better than just going through the pipe itself and actually go along the roof. Messed that up. Unfortunate.
Whoop.
So we gotta hope for now there's no centipedes clogging this pipe. I heard one below us, so we're probably all good. Now there's this kelp here.
There we go.
Ooh, I destroyed my own momentum. Please grab that real quick, thank you. There's supposed to be a kelp here, but he's hiding today. Probably just ate something. I'm looking
You'll see
for
some
centipedes right now.
You can see some new creatures, the lantern mice. They like to hang from the ceilings. They make light. They seem to exist only to be eaten because they just get scared and run away.
Yes. Very important. Something needs to be eaten.
Oh, yep. See, we just sacrificed one to that kelp.
Normally they're not even here as other characters. But as Saint, so far in the timeline, we get to see a good amount of them.
Yes, and we will see why the lantern mice have spread from their usual location a little while.
Oh, so right now, our greatest threat is snails. As slugs, we hate all snails, as we have foregone ourselves. But also, as Saint, the snails themselves, they do a stun. And as Saint, because we have glass bones and paper skin, we immediately enter a seizure upon getting stunned by one of these snails.
Uh-oh.
That's fine. The jetfish was a little annoying there. I would have liked to grab the jetfish because we can use it just like we did the yeek, but in water. But that's fine. I just wanted to be away from those snails. But if we're in the water when we have that seizure, we basically run out of air entirely. If you look at the bottom and if you see white circles, that just shows how much air I have. And so I'm going to use that to judge how I swim through some sections. But for the most part, it doesn't really matter, as we're not trying to be underwater for a great period of time. But we immediately lose all air if we get stunned by these guys. It's right here. That's the worrying spot. I see 3 of them. They're moving in the direction I don't want them to. Ooh, it's getting worse. There's 4 of them now.
And the dangerous part is the water has a cold effect because of the winter.
Also just, well, can't waste my time in here. Oh my goodness, I just hit the ground and the stun killed me because I was holding them. I thought I was gonna... I'm surprised that even happened. My tongue didn't actually hit the ceiling fast enough when I tried to grab the ceiling there. That is very unfortunate. We were at the save. That was literally just it. Oh, this is fine.
So I believe you grabbed the snail because, like, if you're holding it, it won't do the pop.
Yeah, if I'm holding the snail, it won't pop. If I have to go through the snail, which I basically was going to go through one or the other, I must grab it, because if I touch it, it'll just pop. This guy is oddly fast, and I don't know why. But this is
I think it's
fine.
detecting that it's a serious mode time and has decided to step up its game.
Yes. Very volatile, can't survive pop. Actually didn't know that you wouldn't survive pop when holding him. He's gonna let go of me. That's fine. Because normally I'm not holding it when it pops. But that does make sense. If it just made us had the seizure there, we would have been fine because we weren't in the water.
Yeah, dry land.
Wasted a good amount of time though. Now we get to go through the bad spot. This is usually the bad area, but we basically did everything again. A second time where the literal last moment we could have died, we died in. But it's fine.
You did it so good. You're like, we need a replay of it.
Yes. There will not be Miros birds in the way this time.
Yes.
Oh.
Now there are those little.
Evil man, though.
That is a very long centipede too.
The general rule for centipedes are if they're bigger than you, they can kill you. So that smaller one actually couldn't kill us if it wanted to. Although as Saint, I'm actually not sure. It's not really going to try to anyway. It's like scared of you too. Went the wrong way.
Just as a rule, try and avoid the big ones, because I can't even eat them anyway.
Yes, because we're Saint. Can't even hurt anything. That one's dead, which is not good to see, because it means there's a centipede up here. Oh, good.
Oh.
Alright, I'm just gonna eat the food I have in my hands. See if this guy moves.
It's going to be a little tricky.
I'm going to grab this man. It's the one thing with Rain World that's annoying, where if he might come through. We can go
It's
through
unfortunate.
creatures for both going through it at the same time.
I was going to say the unfortunate thing that the fact our blocker is a centipede rather than a lizard, is because lizards usually when they eat something, they kill something, they'll take it back to their den, they'll get out of your way. Centipedes seem to just kill things and then vibe. They just want to do violence. Ooh, that was some nice momentum.
Scavenger there. I didn't want to fall too far because that centipede can move around. So as we see with creatures that can crawl on walls, if it looks like there isn't a background, it cannot crawl on that. So we're centipedes and such. I didn't need this berry, but I carried it through the whole way.
Emotional support berry.
Vibe Islands, it's true. So yes, I am looking at chat. I haven't really been saying things because I've had a lot to say as it is. But hello. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Movement is very satisfying. I'm glad. It's definitely why I like Saint a lot, as it's a lot easier to do very good movement than some of the other characters. So I've been playing a lot of Hunter Pebbles, and you do a lot of the same things and same routing, at least at the beginning, that Saint does, but as Hunter. And Hunter is just a really good base movement character. They don't have anything terribly special to them. And just doing the same thing, it's just much easier as this character, and it looks a lot flashier. It's very easy to lose all of your momentum as Saint as well, while Hunter, you are trying to do fairly complex strings of inputs. Not to say that you don't do that in Saint, but you just get a lot more rewarded for even doing a little right.
Thankfully, we have a jetfish this time.
There's 4 of them there again. This is horrible. And the jetfish is going through them. Hopefully he takes the pipe. He did. I'm waiting for... Okay. So if I was near that, I would die instantly, as we kind of died before.
So could you not have taken the jetfish to get through that area?
So if the jetfish head, when it hits something, it does a small amount of damage. And if you do a small amount of damage to the snail, it will pop instantly.
I see.
So the jetfish is my threat right now. If that makes sense.
There we
Okay.
go.
And now that we haven't brought a snail, the snails actually live in this room, but they like to all move into that room. Usually we only get 2 in that room, so seeing 4 of the 5 that I believe exist. Here's the 5th one. Don't do it to me. Go away.
It's menacing.
They're landmines. Oh, and I did a wall pounce there. And it's like nothing happened. Pretend the last whole cycle didn't happen.
It was all just an echo.
Yes. Right, so
It
this specific shelter is very useful for going to a lot of different locations. The one thing I don't remember is if the echo's going to be here when I'm low on karma. I believe I'm fine. So we're going to be going. So we're going to be seeing a main character here in a second called Looks to the Moon. And we deal a lot with her in the other campaigns. In this one, kinda, but not as much.
I'll say as a reminder, we do have incentive running as to whether we do story or any percent. Not any percent.
Basic ideas. Story will be the longer one. The other way to put it is save or kill the iterators is the incentive.
Yeah, so as they are saying, you can go to tracker.indiethon.com/donate and you can choose the incentive for Rain World to choose which category that Ice is going to finish the game on, and you still have time to go do that.
I believe the buttons down below the stream will also send it to you, specifically the donate one. Right, or you get to see giant jellyfish. We love giant jellyfish because they moo at us. They're sea cows. These guys are a little annoying, but for the most part, it's not really much of a problem. The tentacles will let go of you if you are in the air. There's kind of a random chance it'll decide to shock you, and then you just instantly die. But the main idea is to just not touch its main body. You could technically jump over the top, but I'm a lot less confident doing that than swimming under.
There's also another really fun aquatic creature, but probably won't see it. The old Leviathans.
Yes, we will see him once. There's pretty much 100% chance. But it'll be fine then. I kind of didn't do my swimming movement so I could talk a bit there, but it'll be all good. Alright, gonna go to the highway. So now in this area we have low gravity that turns on and off constantly. So if the lights are on and you hear the sound, then I guess it's turning off right now. So depending on what cycle we've gotten is what we're going to be doing going through that room. It is completely random when it's going to change, so there's nothing really can do to control that. We don't want to jump here because low grav is on. And we get to see Moon. Hello. And goodbye.
Hi, Moon. Hi, Moon. Oh, you're leaving.
Alright, we don't need to listen to anything she says, as we're going to not even remember that we've met her to begin with. We've got the good cycle, which is 0 grav on right now, so I want to try to go all the way up.
There we go.
Very good. Otherwise, we have to go up the left side, which is slightly slower, because we got to recenter ourselves after, and we got to do a lot more licks.
If I remember correctly, because I know you did talk about the grapple tongue states, but because with Saint flying through the air, don't you also have to manage, like, if you're standing up while flicking the tongue is different than if you're in a crouching state in doing the tongue?
So the main thing, kind of just to say with that, is Slugcat has 2 states, and that being, like, right now I'm just standing in the upright state. It's kind of the static pose. It's kind of like with every game, how you're basically gonna have a just well, with a lot of other games, you're basically a glorified square with abilities, and when you're in the upright state, it's basically the same. But in the all fours state, which you have to be in for certain slides, rolls, etc., and if you're in the all fours state in the air and doing grappling, you're actually slower. So we just want to try to avoid that whenever we can. For the most part, the major roadblocks, like the spiders being in the way and the deaths that we have, are the things that we are worrying about more in the end, but there's a lot of minor movement things. I did a wall pounce, unfortunately. There's a lot of minor movement things that determine placement on the leaderboards quite a lot. I currently have 3rd place on the leaderboards. The other 2 are a few minutes ahead of me, but they're both really close to each other because they've really optimized all of the movement throughout the run.
It looks like Raygon still has it about 55-42.
Very good run. So I have pretty much a 1 hour flat as my best for story percent, which is the longer one. Right. So now we're going to be seeing a lot different. So this area, outside of course, everything being snow, this area does not exist normally at all. This is all new that we're seeing. As normally this would enter an area called Shaded Citadel, and Shaded Citadel is underneath one of the main characters, or iterators, which is a supercomputer that stands up in the air. Just by looking at what happened to Shaded Citadel underneath it, it's good to say that the entire structure has now fallen over by the time Saint has gotten here so far into the timeline.
It's due to time or plot. Who knows? There's also the home of the Lantern Mice. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. We're going to be approaching the final echo here. When we get the last one, that is when we would have to call the incentive. Although I'll probably be going with the longer story percent if it is still tied. I just gotta remember to actually eat this food. I keep forgetting to eat the food here. Eating the iridescent moss.
Yes. Eat delicious, delicious moss you find on the ground.
And currently, yes, it is still tied for the incentive. So if we get to that point, it's up to you on how you want to approach it.
Alright. So this tunnel can be very familiar if you remember a lot from all their campaigns. Saint is very much if you've played through everything else and you really like Rain World, it's kind of a celebration of the whole game, where you'll just notice a whole lot of things happening. Ooh, I interrupted it. That are much different, or recognizable, but different in their own way over time.
The fantastic encore run, absolutely.
Okay, just stretching a moment here. So one thing I just gotta worry about before I hit the shelter here is magical blue lizard can simply appear if he wants to. Okay,
centipedes have been
real. Blue lizards are not real.
It's mostly been centipedes up until now, but for this area, it's going to be the blue lizards, our main enemy.
Well, at least for this beginning part. We're going to be seeing a lot of what we've been seeing previously. The spiders, the birds that walk on the ground. You might see some birds from the air, but it's unlikely. At least right now. Just trying to listen for this blue lizard is. There's actually 2 blue lizards. One of them can wander in from quite far away. If a room is unloaded, the creatures in it are abstracted and move much faster than they would normally. Kind of hard to explain, but it is relevant to know when you're speedrunning, as creature locations are actually pretty consistent when you're going through it. A bunch of times. So the fact that we've seen some weird things like that Miros bird half on the wall, and I forget what the other thing was that was a little weird. The 4 snails both times. Very strange things you don't normally see. There's the other blue lizard here. Just saw him for a moment. He fell asleep because of the echo, because this room's affected by the echo. I wasn't sure if he would because we were really far off on the right side there. Kind of show my mistake there for a second. Talking about the Saint movement, there's kind of the major things with the Saint movement and why I kind of state if you're not pressing a direction at all, or if you're pressing up, or if you're pressing right. To grab poles, you press up. So in certain situations, you want to not be pressing any input and then be making sure you face the right direction to start with so that your tongue goes where you want it. So that you're not holding up and accidentally grabbing the pole while you go by. There's actually a lot of very specific inputs at certain moments to prevent completely losing all of your speed by you pressing up. In some cases you want to press up because if you did a right or a neutral input, you wouldn't actually get... you would actually lose speed, where pressing upwards would actually keep your momentum normally. Just trying to go through some specific things. Additionally, you'll see that the tongue does grab poles, but it'll only grab it on its return trip back to you. So it's not the most useful thing, but if you're in a certain situation where there really is nothing else, it is quite useful. Ooh, messed that up. That little spot's a little annoying.
Alright, we're getting close to our last echo before we'll need to cut off the incentive. So if you have strong opinions on which route, get them in.
We're right in this room when the cutscene happens that we see in the sleep screen. There he is. Presence has been revealed to you now, young one. Alright, that's pretty much the cutoff right there. You can let us know where the incentive's at.
So it seems the incentive has stayed tied, so it is up to you on how you want to approach this.
Alright, we will do the story run, which is the slightly longer one.
Alright, so we're going to be doing story mode for the rest of the run. And while I'm already on mic, do you mind if I read off some of our stuff?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you so much. Alright, to remind everybody, Indiethon is a tri-annual charity event showcasing all types of indie games. We're bringing you speedruns of games you may not have heard of before to help support Fred Hutch and their efforts to find cures for cancers. For more information on our events, visit Indiethon.com. Also, if you would like to donate, you can go to tracker.indiethon.com/donate, or, as I think Dreki pointed out, you can just go down on our page and click on the donation button as well. And a shout out to our Team 17 supporter. They're an independent indie game publisher based in the United Kingdom. You can visit their website at team17.com. So along with your donations, other than getting incentives, you can also win prizes such as game keys. Once again, thank you all for being here, and back to Rain World.
All right, thank you. So now, I haven't really used it much yet so far, but now that we've hit all of the echoes, we actually have a new ability, and this is the ability to fly and even attack. So now we're not going to use it too much right here. I messed up hitting the roof there. That's fine. But we're going to be using this to get air and otherwise get to locations we wouldn't be able to easily normally. So now if you thought we had a lot of air control earlier, we have full air control now. However, we're on a limited resource of it, so we still need to use it correctly. And in a lot of places, it is actually slower to use than the tongue. Surprised I didn't hit that. And so we're still going to use the tongue whenever we can. But when we need fine movement, or if it's a really big gap like this one, we'll use it to get up there.
Certainly part of the run where watching others like you play. I feel like the technique gameplay really gets the next level because you're having to manage this resource. You're having to decide whether the tongue's faster, whether you just need to slide, whether you need to use the fly. It's really fun to watch.
All right, here's the main thing. So you can also attack with the ability, that being the X above our head. And there is the main characters of the game, that being Pebbles and Moon, and this is Pebbles, and there was Pebbles.
Bye, Pebbles.
He's dead now. And so we can actually
He's
quit
okay.
out
He's okay.
once we do that and go right back in, and his death remains canon despite quitting out. So now we gotta go see Moon. So this is the story run where it diverges, where normally we would just go to the end of the game instead of ascending Pebbles. And for this one, we're getting Pebbles. We're going to be ascending Pebbles and Moon here, essentially killing them. Or is it a good thing? I don't know. But there's more going on for that.
The story is quite interesting, and it does leave things up to interpretation.
So now we're going to be going back through a lot of areas that we've already been through. However, now we have the ability, so the movement's actually going to be quite different. This is the last time we need to eat to save. Need 2 last food so that we can actually do that. Tongue has failed me. The gate rooms between regions, basically the loading zones, they really don't want you to be licking the roof and stuff, and so it'll immediately detach, but if you press buttons fast enough, it is faster. Oh yes, the other thing I didn't say, Saint's Tongue. Now normally with the grapple that currently exists in the game, which is you holding a grapple bug and be using their tongue, when you jump out of it, or essentially swing out of it, you just make the tongue unhook from whatever roof or other terrain it's hooked onto. But for Saint, you actually jump out of it, which allows a lot more vertical movement than the normal grappling. Makes it very easy to move through areas. You do kind of get a lot less horizontal movement, which is why you gotta work a lot more for it as Saint and the normal grapple. But that's just kind of how it goes.
Oh, the Saint flight through water is very new.
Yes, so don't know why specifically. Actually, I kind of know why, but you go a lot faster when using the ability through water. Worrying about giant flying birds right now, but it's fine. They did not show up today.
And for that, I am grateful. They scare me.
Alright, yeah, no one... So there's Miros birds and there's Miros vultures, which are the flying ones. I'm glad we didn't get to see those today. Alright, last save of the run. I might take another one, depending on what happens. But essentially we're going to go see Moon. Things are going to happen, and then we're going to be going towards the end of the game.
I'm sure Saint is going to have a very normal final part of their game, just a very average experience. Nothing strange at all will probably happen. There's usually a feature for getting around the map in Rain World, basically in-game achievements, passages that can be used to warp around, but Saint cannot take advantage of those, so we have to actually travel all the way to Moon again.
So, there's actually a good reason for that, and we'll be finding out about that very, very soon. Right now I'm just trying to manage the ability. Here's where we'll probably see the Leviathan. He's most often here, at least. Now, normally the Echo's influence prevents him from showing up. But
there he is!
Oh. Often, very, very often, we get to see him eat the jellyfish, and the jellyfish kind of just explodes. That's always kind of funny to see him there.
Leviathans are a very interesting creature, being very mechanical seeming. Still quite alive.
Giant trash compactor. they don't actually do damage with their bite. It is just a kill function. Which I find very funny.
Always nice when they decide to forego actual damage numbers and just be like, you know what? No, you're just DED dead.
Mess that up. Gravity shenanigans kind of did weird stuff to that jump at the end. So I could do the 360 no-scope through the wall. So we're going to try that because we can. Okay, we didn't get her. It's unfortunate. She was lower than I thought she was. Alright. Now that we've killed both of the iterators here, now we can go to the end. And so we're going back right the way we came. The snails and basically every other creature that we normally run into aren't really an issue anymore, because one, we move a lot faster, have a lot more control of our movement directly. And two, if they are just really in the way, we can now just kill them. There's a bad man there.
Oh, no.
That's fine. It's the second time I've seen him there, but that was a much better location for him to be in. All the snails are now only just emerging from their den, so they're not going to be in this annoying spot.
Sometimes I forget that burbs can get in these areas, because those openings do go to the sky.
So birds are also like scavengers. They can, if they have an access point for whatever room there is, they can just be there. So if it's open to the sky, they can be there. There's some really weird rooms that don't seem like they're open to the sky, but actually are. I should have took the lower path if I had the jetfish, but that's fine. Alright.
Go away, snails.
Little stretch. All good.
Fun aspect of gates. Oh, go ahead.
There you go, you're saying things.
I was going to say a fun aspect of gates that we don't really run into in this run is when a gate cycles, it can only do that once per run. So we actually can't use the same gate to go back to the region we just came from because it's on cooldown.
Once per day, yes.
Once per day, yes.
And if we starve, we're technically still on the same day, so it remains inactive as well. So starving is just resting with insufficient food, which we really don't want to do that because it doesn't save the game. There's some mechanics and runs that use it.
Being in the starving state is interesting, but quite hazardous.
Yes.
Ooh. Nice.
Okay. Just trying to make sure I do this right. The tips of the kelp are really the only part that actually exists. So if you run into them, they eat a bit of your speed. It kind of ate my speed twice there. Oh my goodness. That man's been stretched out. I think the game bugged. I think the game was really unhappy about that mouse.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm still actually in control, by the way.
Oh, there we spawned.
It figured it out. So, I don't really know the best way to explain that. Just sometimes physics kills all functions of the game. We do one very controlled version of it for some categories. But if the game can't figure out how to calculate how things move for one reason or another, it will kind of just die until it can figure out how it actually works. So I assume because that mouse was getting pulled by its string, everything was just really, really unhappy. This is not a good situation, seeing the mole and the spider there. I really want the mole to grab that spider. Or he gets stabbed twice by tranquilizers and runs away. That's great too.
So even though Ice can now shoot creatures with mine bullets, he can only enter the kill state outside of a pipe. So while he's in a pipe, that's actually...
Yeah, I have to be in the air to actually activate the ability, which is more annoying than you think it is. So I can't activate it in water or one wide pipes. So right now I'm just trying to listen to what's happening. And it takes quite a while for it to actually go off. That one worked out. I was able to tuck in with the ability so he couldn't hit me. That one's particularly annoying. That spider, he almost always shows up, which is why I was listening for him. Right here is also an annoying spot. Right when I transition, I don't hear anything. As the mole lizards can be very hard to see. Alright. We're entering where the end of the game is. In just a moment here. It's in the same place for most characters. Some of the more Slugcats characters have endings in other places. But the basic ending is always right here. However, if you've played this game before and haven't seen Saint, this area is much different. Also, this is the Among Us room. There it goes. You will never unsee that.
Drilled down into...
And now there's nothing here. There used to be stuff.
Uh-oh. Oh, now we're falling.
There's nothing. And who knows when we'll hit the ground.
Yeah, I guess this is maybe the end. You know, we're just kind of falling forever. Oh, accept.
Game really wants to drive home. Concept of ascension, where ascension is the big X mark. Rising above all your natural karmas. Although we don't really understand what's going on. Because we're now in Rubicon. Compared to all other characters, when we enter down here, a bunch of weird stuff happens and then the game ends. But for us, we got a lot more gameplay to do. Well, a lot is relative, but last area.
Yeah.
Reason why we don't have passages is so we can't leave this place, and we also get to see the Guardians. These guys won't die in one hit, and will in fact take 3. They also will spawn creatures to kill us as they lock the doors. So we're essentially entering in Battle Royale rooms where we have to kill the room inhibitor to actually cross. So ability management is everything here.
And the Guardians usually don't do this to other Slugcats. Just seems they take umbrage to Saint's progress through these areas. And if it wasn't clear that this is a bit of a encore run, if you're familiar with any of the areas, or with a lot of the areas in Rain World, we're going to be seeing vignettes of various areas as we go through Rubicon. So it can be a little Where's Waldo bit of fun to try and spot maps, especially because sometimes they might be rotated or flipped.
Yes, there's a lot of rooms where it is literally just the same room, but it's upside down, stuff like that. We're going through a very particular path. Right now we're hoping for no vulture. See what happens. Also, there's X's in the background. If I sit next to it, it constantly recharges my ability. So if I can, I will sit on them, because we have limited time to actually have and use the ability. Now, if we didn't have all of our deaths, my personal best has actually been done for 10 minutes. Very unfortunate that this had to happen.
Just showing off more of Rain World, you know?
That is a little bit why I had the estimate the way it was, but also because when I submitted, my best was a lot worse. So, bird in wall. So if you've played Castlevania, you know of wall chickens. The giant Miros birds here can also simply decide to be in a wall because he wants to be. I don't really know how else to explain that unless we saw it, but we didn't actually get him there. can basically just show up in the one wide pipes that we come out of that into that room. Because that room really doesn't realize until we enter it, as I understand.
Is that part of the creature abstraction? Whenever creatures are far enough away?
Not really sure how to explain it. Just if a room's not loaded, it's abstracted, and creatures don't really move the way they normally do. They just kind of go vaguely in directions. And for the Miros Vulture, that means that they can just be in one wide pipes. Now here's the part that's always a lot of routing discussion, where either we just go for it with no ability, because we basically always end up with no ability, or we sit here, get it all back. We can also take a save here. I like to not take the save and just get all the ability back right here. I don't take the save because there really isn't consistent food. Two bad men here. Worked out. Second man. Really want this guy to not exist in the next room. I tabbed out of it accidentally. He went through the pipe, I believe. As long as he's not in this room. Oh, this is bad. Ooh,
Oh,
the last moment.
Oof.
That was basically also the last spot we could have done. Well, not really, but we can get back there fast. Also on respawn, we can use the ability to fall so we don't take a hard fall. And we can kind of go forward.
Unfortunate. Yes, unfortunately, despite some of these creatures like those lizards being all golden, it's basically the most quote-unquote advanced and difficult of each enemy type is what's spawning. So red lizards, Minos vultures, the winged centipedes. But it does not pull any punches out here in Rubicon.
Some of the spawns are random, but it's mostly just the ones that the guardians here spawn. For the most part, we'll always see the same thing every time. But with the Miros vultures, it kind of just is, did they decide to show up here? Yes or no? And it's just so much worse if they do. So we're not seeing any of the red lizards we did before. Also, red lizards are the hardest type of lizard to deal with, normally. Only lizard to have 100% chance to instantly kill you on bite for normal characters. And they also spit at you to knock you out of the air. And with Saint's ability, it knocks you out of your ability. Okay, they're both above.
Very unsanitary of them.
Licked the rock out of my hand there.
Ooh, double grow.
Yes.
Oh, and that is a cyan lizard.
The explosion you do actually is an area of effect. It needs to be pretty much on an enemy to actually do the explosion, but it will hit anything in an area. No vulture here today. Hopefully, at least. Could still show up. These kelps
Unfortunately,
can kill you, but
I believe the room that you got Miros Vulture, there's not really an easy ability recharge point that you can sit on in that area.
It's just kind of the one I was sitting at a second ago. That's why it's so annoying. Should have took the other path. That's fine. Oh, that's what I was talking about. One chicken.
Yep.
He's just right there. I don't know if we can actually kill this guy. He has very limited cone of vision. I accidentally tapped down and it put me through. Oh, I had him though.
All right. There we go.
Please
A little bit in the
more.
pipe.
We got double wall chicken. Why? I have no ability going into this room too, which is not great. So we're gonna do this a little slow.
It do be how it be doing sometimes.
Got this X, fortunately.
Now, you may see the delicious, delicious Fanta. It is actually danger juice, and we do not want to touch the water. It has become lava.
I don't really know how to explain it in any other way. But yes. Centipede hopefully will not follow us.
I think of the possible spawns, the winged centipedes are probably the best, just because of the way their aggression is calculated.
They'll only actually attack us if they know we exist for long enough. Okay. Back here. Nothing bad will happen the second time.
And it's usually long enough. You can leave the zone or take care of the guardian blocking and move on with the zone before they start hunting you. Speaking of being hunted.
I feel like I should kill that guy so he doesn't show up in the next room. Should be okay. 3, 2, 1. I do certain timing on things depending on which creature is following me. Red lizard's no good. Please let me through. Who wouldn't dare throw Miros Vulture a second time? Okay, a little bit too far away.
We have also seen a little skittering bugs with like red dots on their back. So those are fire bugs, which actually drop a unique item for this area. Is the fire spear. And it's actually the only spear.
Yes. They also
Because he has the
drop
only
the
spear that he can use.
Simtex. Oh yes. The only spear they're gonna
Simtex.
use is these guys, and then they drop Simtex. Because of course they do. Which are also edible. You can eat explosives in the video game. But instead of like their egg bug counterpart in the overworld, firebugs, if they're disturbed too much, will kill you instantly, but otherwise are unharmless. If we lick them, they will pop all their eggs, in quotes, but actually explosives. Well, and edible explosives. But
Does that kill them too, or does...
so
I don't recall.
if you just tongue them normally, they'll pop open and then try to kill you by stabbing you with their spears. But if you ascend them, they'll fully die, and then it's fine.
I see. I see.
It is very weird creature. It's not something you'd really run into much. Them being aggro, that is. That's why the arena challenges, which are basically one-off rooms, really use them a lot better. Alright, this room's another room with the vultures that can be quite annoying.
This is a region we didn't really go anywhere near in Saint. The memory crypts.
Last few rooms here. I'm going to kill this guy because I don't like him. He lives today, I guess.
Unfortunate.
So all these orange lizards down here, there's a lot of them. Giant roadblocks. I can see their glow there. Okay, another one showing up today, it seems.
Just a whole golden orange party.
Can't see the glow well because of the ambient lighting.
There's the goober.
You can get lucky, so none of them actually come up. Oh, there's all of them are here today. No, so some of them will fall down, so it won't actually be an issue. But when you've got a bunch of one-wide pipes, you then just gotta clean it up and push them all away.
And just gotta Zamboni the lizards away.
You gotta one, not make sound, so you try not to touch the ground so none of them show up. And then hope they don't actually go that way. One of them's actually still alive. Wow. Lives today. Alright, we are past all points where we can die. There's just the ending sequence. It's actually going to be pretty soon that we're going to end here. I was hoping it wouldn't take this long, but sometimes things just happen, but I'm glad to show it off. Having the bit longer of an estimate worked it out too. Alright, final rooms here. You'll notice the entire world has started to completely unravel. 0G is back. Oh, although for us it hasn't existed at all.
Get some more fantastic Rain World music.
Another thing about this area is you just scroll around the other side. I believe the Shovel Knight run actually had a mechanic like this, where you just go the opposite way and you appear screen scrolling over. So we're completely on the other side of the room when we do this. I want to tap the ability for speed instead of staying in it. And now we get to see Moon and Pebbles are here, except we don't get to talk to them at all. So we're going to go straight to the end. But if we didn't ascend them, they wouldn't be there. So they have a whole thing they want to say to us. Barely makes sense, because it's very hard to understand what's happening, but explains a lot about this game. It's very good. Time is in a second here, and that is time right there. Alright. So thank you all for watching.
GG to both of you. And GG guys. And also great commentary, Drecky.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting me.
I don't know how much real time we're at. I see our in-game timer. There's a whole ending sequence here.
It looks like timer stopped at 1:25:51.
Okay. If we want to do the ending sequence, that would be at like at 1:30. If y'all are okay with that. Otherwise, we are good to stop. Oh, we get to experience this other one. That makes sense.
Well, while we're going through the epilogue, do you want to shout out your channel, where they can find you, both of you?
Alright, so I'm iced37. I'm primarily a speedrunner of this game, although I've also been doing a lot of streaming of different variety things, and I do a lot of 3D modeling, which is why I have this VTuber here, which is my character as a Slugcat. I have made all 9 of the base character Slugcats as 3D models. You can normally find me as iced37 on Twitch, and then it's far too cold with underscores between the words on Twitter. And if you want to say something, Drecky?
I am Drecky Ormer on Sky, Twitter, Twitch, everything. I do a variety of games, usually Monday, Friday, and then Saturday is usually a wildcard day. Sometimes I do a bit of art, sometimes I do a bit of Rain World speedrunning. Maybe I'll do a bit of coding sometime. I like to nerd out on stuff, so if you ever have nerd questions on setups or things like that, I usually love to go in depth on things. And you should definitely go check out the Slowcat models that Ice made, because they are a lot of fun, and I like having them as little throwable objects.
One other thing is that this month is the anniversary for the game releasing, the base game, not the DLC. But for the anniversary of the base game, we also have Art Month, where each and every day is a different prompt relevant to the game. And I don't know what today is, but if you go on Twitter or really any other place, you can see a lot of art by the community. Because a lot of people really, really like this game. A lot of very, very talented artists. I'm working on a 5 Pebbles model, which was that robot we saw. Also, I'm sorry to stream tech of how loud this area is, but hope that's all good. One other thing, as the speedrun community, really like to see other people run this game. So with this run, as me doing Saint, we're also having one person who's their expert of that character do the story run as the other 8 characters. So we're basically having showcases of all 9 Slugcat characters over the next few days. So tomorrow will be Hunter, and then 2 days from now will be Monk, and then it'll be go on from there through the other characters, one a day. So that'll be a thing that is happening.
And how can they find your community?
So we like to restream a lot of our stuff on the Rainworld Speedrunning Twitch channel, and on there is the Discord link to the event Discord itself.
That is awesome. Like, it's super, like, you guys are actually doing stuff as a community, enough runners to actually hold events. That's awesome.
Alright, one thing to note for here, it's removing all of our karma. These are actual screenshots from our game, by the way. Every location that's showing us here is a certain time before we met in Echo. And if it can't grab one, it'll just show the giant X mark, which for the speed run we generally see the same area over and over again if we've done it right. Last little section here, it'll be a little bit longer. Kind of explain things. Well, one, if nothing makes sense, that's fine. It honestly is good because no one really knows what's happening a lot of the time. Obviously we understand a lot, but developers will never just tell us what it is. One thing to state though is that the More Slugcats expansion, which is what this character is from, and the whole Downpour DLC was made by modders and not the base game developers. There was a whole thing where the game couldn't be updated for a while, and the More Slugcats team was able to make the 5 new Slugcats and put them into the game. The developers decided that this mod was so good that they had to put it into the base game, as they were not able to actually work on the IP for quite a while. And when they got the rights back, they were like, well, this mod's so good, why don't we release this? With the modders' permissions, of course. So I was one of the game testers, both when this was a mod and was official Downpour DLC. And this has been very good time working with the modders and the base game developers. And it's really cool to see that a modded content like this actually make it as official content for the game. And given how much people really care about how this game goes.
Honestly, that's really cool to hear that the community had so much development in the game. That's really cool.
Yeah, the community has been really welcoming. I'm actually fairly fresh to the community. I only got involved like in the last year or so. And it's been very helpful for people, just guides, being very, very great resources as to get started in doing any kind of runs. And each of the Slugcats has their own unique thing that makes it very flexible for what you look for in a speedrun. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Some people saying thanks, Andrew, in the chat. Andrew's the main developer. Now works with the base game developers. They're the person that pushed the DLC as much as it was, as well as Will and a lot of others, such as Lee Moira and Garrix in particular. Alright, last little cutscene piece here, and then I'll actually be out of here. I'm sorry for like going forever with it, but
You're fine.
that whole sequence, even though we have control of what we're doing, we don't consider it for the speedrun, and we actually got the speedrun timer to end. Because the worms that go by, they push you completely randomly, and they do completely random stuff. And it varies the runs by entire minutes. And so we're like, we don't want to have that part of the speedrun. But for the actual game, it's obviously part of the game. So it's why I add a bit of extra estimate to stuff, just to have the opportunity to show it off. Yeah.
This is a very beautiful game. The art is fantastic.
And now after everything, we've ended up right back where we started. So now, like all the echoes we've seen, Saint is fully latched onto the world and cannot ascend like all the other characters. That's the basic idea. But yeah, it's everything for me. I don't know if you had any last thing, but I'm good. Thank you, Indiethon, for hosting this. I was very happy to do off this run, even with the mistakes that I've made.
Well, we are very happy to have both of you here. It was an amazing run, so thank you both. Chat, everybody, give some hype for Iced and Drecky. And with that, thank you guys for coming by.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your evening.
You too, thank you so much.